Am I wrong? Puzzle Hated Cry 4045 says. Am I wrong for not telling my daughter to get a job? I 38 female, have a daughter 18 female, that lives with me and doesn't have a job. My daughter turned 18 6 months ago and graduated high school 5 months ago. I was forced to get a job and move out of my mother's home when I was 17 years old, and I've never stopped since. I wanted her to enjoy some time between school and having to work because I know how hard that is. I have a decent job, we are not wealthy, nor are we poor. We do okay. I do struggle sometimes, but don't think she should be partly responsible for our finances just because she is 18 now. She really doesn't ask for much and knows we can't afford things sometimes. But she gets asked all the time, so do you have a job yet? And I usually feel the need to come to her defense. I also have had people make negative comments to me about her not working, saying she's an adult. Am I wrong for thinking just turning 18 shouldn't mean needing to be employed? Am I being irresponsible? Just Lori Einke says. Her getting a job isn't to help you around the house financially. It's so she can start becoming an adult. I certainly wouldn't be charging her rent, but I would be encouraging her to learn about work and finances so that she's ready to be independent. I'm not saying it has to be now, but I wouldn't let her linger for too long. The longer she stays home not doing anything, the harder it will be for her. Daza Chung says. Seriously. My mom encouraged me to find part-time jobs once I hit 16. Before that, she gave me some short work experiences doing various stuff like picking up phones and taking MSGS. She used to run a language training center. She never charged me rent or anything, and I kept my money, but I did start paying for my phone bills when I got my first phone at 16, a Nokia brick, which is the first responsible adult thing I started doing. I had spending money without having to ask my mom for it every month, and I could buy things for people. That gave me a level of independence that I'm always grateful for. Pineapple Pizza for Eva says. This, and if you don't have to get a job because you've been forced to survive, it feels amazing when you get your first real paycheck. Pride, excitement, independence. I got my first job at 17 because my parents wanted me to go into college with some kind of employment experience in case I wound up in a program with internships or something similar. It was just a little grocery store, but the skills I learned and experiences I had have stayed with me throughout my life, even in jobs that have nothing to do with grocery store employment. Your first work experience was very different than what your daughter's will be, because she won't have to take the first job she finds or be under pressure to earn enough to support herself right off the bat. She doesn't need to contribute to the household finances, but she should experience that next step into adulthood before she starts internalizing that employment is awful and best to be avoided at all costs. Speaking from experience, living at home with no expenses and lots of disposable income is awesome. Miss Mom says. She had to ask permission to use the restroom 5 months ago. You don't magically grow up after graduation. We also don't know what her school experience was like. Intrepid_potential60 says. This is up to you. You aren't obligated to continue to support her. Like, legally speaking. But that is your kid. And you can provide anything for her, or anyone, really, you wish to. From now until the inevitable of father time. Here's the reality. Our job as parents is to provide a safe, nurturing, loving environment in which our children can grow to be adults themselves. It doesn't need a stopwatch. It's on your time and your choices. Does she need to continue to grow? Yes. But there's lots of ways to get there, it isn't one path. Not wrong. Drycrab7998 says. Getting a job does not equal being thrown out of your home. At 18, getting a job is valuable life experience. No one is suggesting she should be out on the street. Sleep Dangerous 1074 says, my siblings and I were all told after we turned 18 that if we weren't going to university, we needed to start working. We only lived rent-free if we were at university or a minor. I got a low-paying job and paid my parents $100 in rent and was responsible for all my own expenses. It taught me a lot about budgeting and adulting. If I ever really needed money, they'd cover it. But if I'd blown my budget because I wanted to eat out and couldn't afford to go out with friends, well then no going out with friends for me, I couldn't afford it. It actually helped me a lot when I moved out. My parents gave me back all the money I gave them in rent to help towards my deposit when I bought my house. You don't have to make her do anything. She's your daughter, but it wouldn't hurt to start encouraging her to work just to learn responsibility or have something to do. JB6997 says, I gave my 18-year-old a year in 2017 to decompress somewhat. I didn't pressure him, and he didn't abuse this at all. After a year I told him he needed to get a part-time job for himself, or I'd pay for him to go to college. He worked part-time for about 6 months then decided to go to college. He still works part-time and is 4 classes from graduating with honors with a 4-year degree. I've paid for his phone, truck is paid for, school and have helped him so he can get through school. He lives with his girlfriend now and I believe giving him some time to decompress was the best thing I could have done for him. Not all kids are ready to jump into college and the worked immediately after high school. Am I wrong? Baddest biz at right square bracket 10,102 says, am I wrong for calling out my mother's husband on Facebook and anyone else who supports him? My mother and so had an argument that resulted in me blocking her phone number and her social medias. I'm throwing a Halloween party and I had invited her out of kindness. She kept disrespecting my boundaries, so she was uninvited. She kept trying to force me to let her husband come. She texted me and asked if she could bring him. I told her, I'm not inviting my abuser to my party. I don't want to be around the pedo. It chaps my ass that you try to force him in my life knowing he abused me, she said. I'm not trying to ruin relationships over something that may have happened almost 10 years ago. You were mistreated to an extent, and he was sometimes verbally abusive, but so were you. It's not fair that you're excluding him when he wants to make things right with this family. I said, now you're uninvited, since you can't respect my decision. You always do things like this, and I'm tired of it. If he truly wanted to make things right he would have admitted to what he did to me and turned himself in. I got upset and blocked her phone number and blocked her on all of my social media pages. He made a post about me around 12 AM or 1 AM in the morning on Facebook. Has been blocked from my life, phone and social media for a long time. I only seen the post because my cousin screenshotted it and sent it to me. His Facebook post said, it's come to my attention that my oldest stepdaughter is spreading lies about me. She's been nothing but trouble her whole life. She is a pathological liar. She can never admit when she's wrong. She's selfish. She did a lot of drugs, she was a crack addict. She would sleep with older men when she was 15 to 16 years old. She has had many sexual partners. She has always been ungrateful. She would fight people for no reason. She has always been violent and disrespectful. I don't know what I ever did to make her hate me. I was a good father to her. I went above and beyond for her just to spit in my face. She won't let me see my granddaughter and it's not fair because everyone else got to see her but me. She's excluding me. I got angry and wrote a post of my own. My post said, as you all know, is my mother's husband. He doesn't even deserve the title stepdad. He was abusive to me my whole life and made sure I was excluded from everything with the family. He molested me for 2 years of my life. He sexually assaulted me. Yes, when I was a teen I had many partners, but that was a coping mechanism I had to help me through my trauma. I'm a recovering pill addict and have been sober for all of my adult life. November marks 4 years sober. I may have gotten into a couple fights, but I never started them. I never touched crack a day in my life. He claims that I was always violent and disrespectful, but I was reacting to his abuse, but I'm sure he left that out. He claims he was a good father. He was not a father to me at all. He treated me like dog shit my whole entire life. He always leaves stuff out to make himself look good and to make him look like the victim. Has an abusive pose who will never see me or my daughter. Anyone who supports him can go. Astronaut No 920 says, you are not wrong, but you should've cut your mom out a long time ago also. You're a mother now. Imagine in 12 years your daughter comes to you and tells you that someone's touching her inappropriately. Are you gonna believe her? It's our job as parents to protect our children. Your mom failed you. Cut them all out and live your best life. Baddest Biz at right square bracket 10,102 says, they are cut out. Shenanigansco 34 says, good for you. When people tell lies about you publicly, it's best to correct those lies publicly. Lizargeneral 25 says, not wrong, please cut contact with your mother. She is still married to your sexual abuser. Also any family that sides with her and your abuser. With family like that who need enemies. M1K3FX says, you did good by putting the truth out there. Don't keep his secrets. The truth will set you free. I believe you cause it happened to me. Jezebel 8708 says, not wrong at all. He should never have posted that about you. What exactly did he expect? You have every right to defend yourself. It's so horrible that your mom doesn't support you or admit to what happened. I'm so sorry, Op. You deserve better. They're both gaslighting you and trying to deny the reality of what happened. That is not okay. Texas teacher says, not wrong. Please check with the correct jurisdiction to see if your mother's husband can be charged. Many states have eliminated or extended the statute of limitations for crimes against children because of people like your mother that protect predators. Odds are you are not his only victim and that there is someone he is abusing now. Raketep says, you're not wrong. Your mother supporting your abuser is something you can contact over if that's your choice here. It doesn't surprise me, unfortunately. Happens more than I'd like, tbh. If anyone has an issue with your post, block them too. Lianovan says, this is an update, right? Suitable _ night 8256 says, it's funny, posts like his always make me immediately assume they did what they were accused of. If someone accused me of something as heinous as what you're describing, I wouldn't be the slightest bit worried because it would come off too insane to be believed. It's the people who think their actions seem suspicious who feel the need to post screeds about other people to declare their innocence. Chuckle Schmuck says, he's a predator and said so many things that most predators say. I believe you and just want you to know that. Grumpus Narf says, good for you. Blister Edson 0 says, save yourself the trouble and cut everyone off who sides with this piece of shit. Apocalypse says, NTA good on you for keeping your daughter away from him. Jackson Love 3 says, absolutely positively not wrong. Good for you for publicly calling him out. I read your post about uninviting your mom from your party and commented on it. I'll reiterate that comment, point cut. All contact with her now. You don't need either of them in your life or around you, me child. Your mom enabled the abuse and mistreatment. She is just as bad as he is. Stick it blocking anyone who agrees with him or her. Sorry you're going through all this and all that he's put you through. Wildflower Apricotsia says, you're not wrong. I'm sorry he did that to you, and I'm sorry your mom is still with him. I believe you, and I'm proud of you. Irondady_29 says. Not wrong at all. I'm so sorry for what happened to you, and I hope terrible things happen to him and his wife. Tonid69 says. Good for you. Might want to check with your lawyer though. Nightmarebxmas says. NTA. Aquarius Spade says. You had no choice. He called you out publicly, and you have every right to respond publicly. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.